Welcome back. And before we went on the break, we're talking about youth involvement in government. And now with me is Akin Bisola, founder, Youth Employ. Welcome once again, Akin. Now we're going to talking about youth inclusion, participation in governance, and not just that, perks of entrepreneurship in the new Nigeria. Of course, everybody cannot be a 9-to-5 person in Nigeria, and everybody cannot be the suit and tie person. But then before we talk about that, let's talk about the governance and youth involvement in politics. Now, the country has been clamoring for youth inclusion in power and governance, and it seems like the higher the voices, the slower the pace becomes in getting there. What are we doing wrongly? Do you think there's something we're doing wrongly? Is there one particular thing we're supposed to do majorly right to actually get it? Even though we know that with this new administration, we've seen maybe the highest rate of youth inclusion in governance, which is actually one step forward. But then, like I would always say, we're not mediocres and we will not settle for less. What do you think we should do to change this?
Okay, so I think one of the challenges we have in Nigeria is the cost of governance itself. So it makes it a bit discouraging for our young people to venture into politics, knowing that they have to they need a lot of financial empowerment to be able to successfully contest in elections, and also to be able to win elections in Nigeria. Because so when we begin to take our election off the political, take it away from money politics, you know, begin to look at capacity, supporting young people, encouraging them to be able to successfully contest, eliminate, or as much as possible reduce the godfatherism thing, then we'll begin to get it right.
Okay. All right. Now, when you're talking about reducing godfatherism, but then we've had the not too young to run, but then, and equally we have one female in Kwara State, if I'm correct, where she's one of the youngest we've had in the House of Rep. And then I bet she doesn't have a godfather. And even talk about funds, we won't say, oh, she's particularly wealthy or rich compared to other politicians. So what did she do? What do you think she did different? And then comparing that to Nigeria right now at large. We've had under 40 people as ministers, which of course everybody is applauding. Not just that, we've seen inclusion of women in politics, of course. But then, like I'd always say, we wouldn't settle for less. Is there anything you think we need to do different apart from, of course, speak out? If it's talking about speaking, we've spoken, and I'm sure we're probably tired of talking right now. What do you think we need to change about that?
Okay, so looking at the lady from Kwara State, that's one out of many. If you have our youth population above 60%, and we have just that number, having that kind of for some reasons we can begin to say that Nigeria as a country, our youth, we are weak, you know. But we don't just one thing I like to say is that we should not wait till when elections are around the corner to start making these noise, to start putting in this support and all that. You know, 2023 election has gone, 2027 is coming. So we need to start planning. For you to be able to win anything, you need to put some plans. So I believe that our young people, we are waking up. You know, we are weak. We're trying to also, as much as possible, lending our voice. If you look at the young, not young to run bill that was passed. Talking about how the contents for the presidencies reduced from, I think, 40 to 30, governorship and the House of Representatives, that's 35 to 30, and House of Rep and State House of Assembly from 30 to 25 or so. So that alone is a good development. It was signed by President Buhari, and I believe that from what you've seen the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu doing currently, appointing young people to fill in, but that's just appointment. We're talking about more elective offices and all that. So is it time for the youth to begin to get involved as much as possible? Like I said earlier, we need to, as much as possible, as young people, we are the one that these older people buy off with money and all that. We need to look beyond that. We need to begin to look at how we can begin to stand for ourselves, support young people who are ready to contest, who have track record of doing the right thing. Let's support them to get there. Sometimes it's not just about them even wanting to say they want to contest. Sometimes you have to be able to say, guy, we believe you can do this, and we are ready to give you the support. The reason why a lot of people are not coming out is because they're not sure that they're going to be supported, and they don't have all the money to throw around, and there's no godfather to fund them. So that's the problem.
All right, I like that point of view, Akin. But then you've noticed that the youths have done well in other sectors, especially entrepreneurship. When it comes to being entrepreneurial, youths are actually doing well for themselves. Why are they not given enough chances in leadership? I mean, not just entrepreneurship. You take music, for example. You see the way we push our music out there. And take the death of Mohbad, for example. See the way we've been pushing. There's a hashtag justice for Mohbad, and it feels like that's what's on the rise right now. Youths are capable of pushing themselves. So why are we not given chances in leadership?
So like you said, justice for Mohbad, it also starts from there. It starts from us supporting one another, supporting other young people who are ready to contest. You know, giving them all the support. Forget about somebody coming to bribe you, telling you, okay, we'll do this. You know, when we begin to think outside money, look at competence, and look at people who are ready to work, then we'll be able to we'll be on the step to the right direction. So we are doing well in music, we are doing well in entrepreneurship, but why we're not doing well in politics? Because we are not there's no enabling environment for young people to contest in Nigeria or to be voted for. There's the issue of electoral if we can also encourage electoral integrity. When I know that when I come out for a particular position and I'm being voted for, my vote and that of the voters will count. So, but not when I've been voted for and when it's time to now announce the result, there's a foul play. You know, when people can be sure that there's some level of security for them and their family. Not when I want to contest for governor of my state and my parents are being threatened, my wife's and children are threatened to be kidnapped, you know, and all that. So we need to begin to look beyond that, giving enable environment. If these old people want us to get into politics, if President Buhari has signed the Not Young to Run bill, and they believe they're not just looking at us as no young people, they are not experienced. All these people that are there, they started from somewhere.
But do you actually, sorry to cut you, do you actually think Nigerian politics needs experience? Because now this is something we heard over and over again. In fact, from experience, it got to structure because of course, we had the Labour Party, Vavavoom, that came on board then, and everybody said, oh, Labour Party doesn't have any structure. How many governors do you have? How many senators? How many House of Rep members and all of that? Now, it's not just structure, it's experience. Do we need experience to be like, it's just like you going for a job interview and they tell you, oh, 5 years, this thing, but this one is not a job interview. You know the problems we're facing, or you know the problems your constituency or your state is facing. It's not easy for you to just run for it and say, oh, I want to sort out 3 things and make a list, and then when I enter into office, I face this quality. Do we need experience to be a leader in Nigeria?
For me, I think experience is going to play out, but it doesn't have to really be experience in the political space. But that is where you now begin to look at having political mentors and not godfathers. Have the mentors, you know, if you are able to successfully build businesses and all that, you can transfer this knowledge into politics. And also, I don't believe in leadership where it's centered around one person. Leadership is a teamwork. So when you have the right team, you can be able to deliver on what the problems we have in Nigeria. No man is a landlord, and no one person can do anything great. So you need people. You need the right people in your team to be able to to be able to succeed as a politician in Nigeria. So that's it. The experience might be needed, but you don't need so much. If it's by experience, some of these old people don't even know what the young people are clamoring for. And if we have over 60% of us as young people, that means they are just doing things to satisfy themselves. If they really want us as young people, and I think that's the balance the president Tinubu is trying to create, having to involve a lot of young people in the government. But it's not enough. If over 60% of us are young people, then we need more. We need us as governors, we need us as senators, we need us as in the House of Rep, House of Assembly. We need more young people.
One would say one step forward. The Kogi State governor would say is probably representing us, even though he's still not. Right, then, let's move away from politics. Of course, we're still going to talk politics more. The entrepreneurship plays a critical role in building of a society. You would agree with me, viewers. And of course, not everyone can be fully educated. I said it earlier on. Not everyone can wear suit and tie. Not everyone can deal with 9 to 5. Not everyone can deal with 8 to 6 or working from Mondays to Fridays. Some would succeed without education. Now, the Nigeria we seek for currently needs more citizens in entrepreneurship to help boost the nation's economy and also help them become more independent. Currently, Naira is at 980 Naira per dollar, which we're not even sure of. That is dollar we're still talking about. We've not even gotten to the part of the fuel increments and everything, of course, food inflation and all of that. And then it has become pertinent that we look into other sectors now, because if the economy is failing, if 9 to 5 isn't working, not everybody will rest with and tie. I'm going to say that again. What are the perks that Nigeria would enjoy youth involvement in entrepreneurship? Because whether we like it or not, the economy is involved in businesses. And of course, we saw one of the presidential candidates come out say he wanted Nigeria to be more of a producing economy than, of course, you get. So what do you think Nigeria would enjoy youth involvement in entrepreneurship fully?
I'm going to start by saying this. Our population, the youth population we have in Nigeria, if we don't begin to harness it, right, it's going to be more of a liability to us than an asset. Okay. And that is where youth entrepreneurship comes to play. You know, youth entrepreneurship, if encouraged and properly enhanced, we can begin to have the reduction in our unemployment rate. Okay. Because these young people, they create these businesses, they employ more young people, and we have their own contribution into the economic development of our nation. It fosters innovation. We begin to think of innovative ways at which we can begin to create things that we in turn put our country on the global map. So if you have a large number of young people, we have over 60% of us are young. If we are beginning to encourage youth entrepreneurship, then it's the right way to go. Then the country will not only raise our unemployment rate, but we also strengthen our economy as a country.
Okay. I like the fact that you mentioned innovation, because of course the world is going digital right now. Now, speaking of fostering innovation and artificial intelligence, how do you think this is actually going to affect entrepreneurship or entrepreneurs at the long rate? Because it looks like this things are out here to take people's job. We have people in China saying, oh, I've had friends outside Africa say, oh, they sit down and you see a robot, of course, coming to serve you your food and several things. And now there are innovations of planes and aircraft that you can easily, we have the drones. And what if we create drones that doesn't need to be anybody to control and all of that, to create robots that can actually easily fly the drones? So most of these things are even actually taking people's job. Do you think this is actually going to impact? Is it going to have negative impact or positive impact on entrepreneurs?
For me personally, I'm going to say that the advancement of artificial intelligence, right? There's a lot of people are afraid that it's going to reduce human involvement, to cause more unemployment and all that. For me, you know, in every innovative approach, in every innovative invention that we have, right, you begin to look at the positive side. Okay. AI in itself can be used to better stimulate entrepreneurship growth. Nice. Entrepreneurs can begin to look at how they can begin to, through these innovations in artificial intelligence, they can begin to look at ways whereby they can use it to better provide services and also better increase the stability of their businesses. Okay. So you can begin to look at how we can begin to use AI, these digital tools we're talking about and all that, to begin to look at how we can use these things to further build and strengthen our businesses. So let's not look at the part of where I know it's real, right? It's taking people's job, but how can we now begin to position ourselves for the future of work? You know, how can we begin to look at how as entrepreneurs we can use artificial intelligence, we can use some of these tools to for our records keeping, bookkeeping. We can use it for it can even help us to be able to produce more. If you go to the manufacturing industry, you know, if employing labor, you can be able to, maybe you are producing, for instance, let's use in the beverage industry, for instance, you're producing maybe 100 bottles per day, and artificial intelligence, with the aid of artificial intelligence, you can produce 10,000 bottles per day. Yeah. If people are being unemployed in that particular segment of your business, right, maybe in your production now, the artificial intelligence will not be the one to go and deliver to all the customers. So you can begin to look at how we can begin to realign and recenter what you do. So it is doing is serving a particular need, but we need to begin to reposition ourselves as businesses, as young people.
As young people.
Yes.
All right, I like that part where you brought it from, because now there's no way artificial intelligence would affect human labor, and of course the work. It can't
affect 100%.
How do you think it's even whether 100%? I mean, 80% or 60% is still a lot. But then let's just switch it back to how the government would actually help? Because now entrepreneurship would actually reduce how the youth would depend on the government, right? Yeah. But then how is the government going to impact on it? Now we've seen the new administration come in and say, oh, they are going to give student loan, and then we saw the last administration, there was this loan they gave out, I can't remember, Empower, so to foster or something, and then we've seen SME loans and all of that. But these loans actually even getting to the end users at the end of the day. What do you think the government can do to fund most of the entrepreneurs, and what are the right tools actually needed?
Okay, so I think for me, I want to say that there should be some of enabling environment for entrepreneurs to be able to thrive. Okay. Some of which could be giving startup entrepreneurs tax break. Okay. You know, give them the tax break so they don't have to pay tax for a so number of years, so that the money they're supposed to be using to pay this tax can be invested back in their businesses. Okay. Government should also encourage entrepreneurship trainings and mentorship, because some of these young people get into this business don't have all the requisite knowledge and skills that they need. So you can begin to look at trainings, you can begin to look at ways whereby you can begin to contribute to the business themselves. So when government gives this enable environment where they give tax break for a certain period of time to these businesses, when they begin to look at the ways whereby we are out to put in policies that will encourage our small, medium entrepreneurs to be able to thrive and become big, and not a case of where we are looking at the big fish swallowing the small fish. Then if we allow the small fish to also grow, we'll be able to have more people involved in entrepreneurship, more people encouraged to come into entrepreneurship, and we have the youth and unemployment rate in Nigeria will be drastically reduced. Okay. All
right, I'm going to ask you two questions in one breath because we have a limited time. I'll talk about the agricultural sector and the insecurity. Of course, the agricultural sector loses more farmers daily to others insurgents and the insecurity in Nigeria. What other motivation do you think is available to youth to be involved in this sector? And that's for that. Now, talk about the tax rate. I mean, the tax is killing when it comes to the number of taxes most of these young and small businesses they actually pay. Oh. You hear them, you pay tax for TV, tax for, in fact, if it's possible for them to collect tax to breed right now, they would have actually done that. What do you think the government needs to be fixing? Because of course we have the body of chambers of commerce and industry trying to meddle in all of these things, but then at the long run the government still has to interfere. What do you think the government can do different? Because now, whether we like it or not, agriculture is affecting the rate of food price and all of that in Nigeria right now. And then it's still insecurity. Now, the farmers have not been, most of them are not going to farm because of the level of insecurity. Now, if you are a young person, you are a young farmer, and then you go to the farm, you bring out your tomato you want to sell, that means that is cancelled to start with. What do you think the government should do different? And then about tax, I'm very particular about the tax payment. Now that we have a new, well, not new, acting chairman of FIRS, we do hope he does something different. But then the number of taxes we've paid in Nigeria, it looks like they're exorbitant. Now, how will the government actually help small, medium enterprises to actually sort things out in this aspect? Okay,
so I'm going to start from the agriculture question, right? Okay. So I think agriculture in its own is one very is a sector that has enormous potential to contribute to our economic development as a nation. And because of the innovative nature of our young people, if they are well encouraged to get into agriculture, right, we'll be able to just like we said, improve our economic growth and development as a nation. And because of what we have, we begin to have position ourselves for foreign revenue earnings. Right. That's so our young people, we have the population. The only thing we need is the support. We need the backing of the government. We need the support of the government. We need grants to be given, but not just grant being given, but there should be some of mentorship given to these young people who want to play in the agricultural sector. And also, government in other countries of the world, sometimes what government does is that they create a ready market for agricultural produce. So when government backs you up to produce, when you produce, the government buys from you. When the government buys from you, know that no matter how the number of investment I put into my business, the government is going to be the one to buy from me. So I don't have to start worrying about market and all that, because I know that government is my buyer. If that can be encouraged, we will be able to reduce food insecurity in Nigeria. We encourage more people to go into agriculture, and we'll have our economy being stabilized.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. I'd like you to leave a note with our viewers at home. Of course, they're watching. Now there's inflation in the economy, and then how do you think we should inform people that entrepreneurship is the way to go? Because we have some persons who say, "Oh, I cannot be a business person because the economy is not smiling at all." Is that I believe when we have the negative, we'll definitely have the positive. So on a final note, what do you think are the positive things that is attached to being an entrepreneurial person in Nigeria right now?
Okay, so I'm sending this note to everyone who's an entrepreneur. Right? So I'm sending this note to you to keep at it and stay at it, because you are instrumental to the economic progress and prosperity of this nation, even Africa at large. So, and I want you to think beyond Nigeria. Think about whatever you're doing in this country has a ripple effect on Africa as a continent, and it's going to touch the world at large. So have a vision for your business, and let your vision be beyond this country, so that you can begin to put us in the global map. People say, "Oh, that Nigerian guy, that guy." So let's start.
I mean, we have people like Flutterwave and all the rest putting us on the map. So
we can also do that with agriculture. We can do that in any sector. So far, you have a visionary mindset.
All right, thank you very much, Akin Akinbisola, founder Youth Employ. It's been an insightful one with you on the program today. We do hope we'll see you one other time on the program. All right, viewers at home, this is where we draw the curtain for this particular segment. After the break, we'll be joined by an APC's governor spokesperson to Kogi State, of course, to analyze most of the recent happenings in Kogi State. Do well to stay tuned. Don't touch the dial.